It's me, Maria, co-owner of STL Herbs and Aromatics. So today we're gonna make extract from fresh PassionFlower herb that we harvested from our garden. And PassionFlower is a vining plant. So with PassionFlower, what we do is harvest the flowering tips or leaves with buds and flower. So you can see here, we've got some flowers and buds in flower, or not in flower yet. And what we'll do is make extract with it. So PassionFlower is a beautiful vining Missouri native plant that is best known medicinally as a sedative. So it is good for insomnia as well as conditions such as Parkinson's, where there's muscular spasms. It could also be helpful for pain of the nerves, such as a shingles rash. So it would be taken internally, and the extract is extremely convenient to do that. Okay, so the first thing that we do is we weigh what we've harvested and we record it. And that may not be necessary for you at home, but it's a good idea to keep records so that you know and can learn each time you make a batch of extract. So we'll take some of the herb. We've got our scale here, and this is probably more than we need, but we're just gonna go with it. And we put that on the scale, and we've got 10 ounces. Yay. Wow. Sure looks like more than 10 ounces to me. So now we know we would record this in our paperwork. And we like to process our fresh herbs in a blender with alcohol, water, and glycerin solution. For a fresh herb that is leaf or flower, or combination of leaf and flower, we would use a 16% alcohol to water and glycerin. So if you don't have a blender, you can always chop the herb up by hand. We've got a knife, or I'm better with scissors, so I would take pieces of the vines and finely chop them. As much surface area as you can get, the stronger extract you're gonna have. That's why we use a blender. It's fast and really grinds the herb up nicely, so you get a good strong extract in the end.
Could you use other types of alcohol in extract making?
You can always use any alcohol that you like to use. Most grain alcohols are about 40%, so those are perfect for just about any extract that you would want to make. At home, I like to use brandy. You could do rum. If you have a sensitivity to grains, I believe vodka would be a good option. So really doesn't matter that it's Everclear or vodka or whatever you prefer.
Great.
So for the blender, these pieces are still quite a bit long. So what I would do is chop them with my scissors, because I'm not great with the knife, into manageable pieces for the blender. So something like that. Maybe a little bit. These are really big leaves, and we don't want the vines to get wrapped around our motor in there. So kind of fill it about halfway with plants, the herb. You don't want to overfill it, and you want to be able to shut the lid and not have lots of herb pieces sticking out. So that's pretty good. So we've got our herb in our blender, and we're gonna measure some of our alcohol, water, glycerin combination. I would always kind of measure, this is a large amount, so at home you may only be doing an 8-ounce amount to a small amount in one jar, and then you're done. But for us, we're probably gonna make more, so keep track of how much liquid you pour in each time. So 8 ounces in the blender, And then we get the lid on there, and we're gonna use the Smoothie Extract high setting. And that's it. Goes pretty quickly. So you want it to be kind of like a slushy, chopped up mixture there. And we'll pour it in our mason jar. Pretty good. Not too wound up in there. You can always dislodge it safely if it's wound up too much, but I think we're good. And then you would just repeat the process a few times until your jar is to a nice full capacity. Okay, so now you can see we've processed it a few times through the blender and the jar is full. So we're gonna put the lid on nice and tight. So you can see there's a nice amount of liquid that is floating here separate from the herb. And what you want to look for is the herbs to flow around in the liquid freely and not be jammed up and clumped up together. Some herbs actually float on top and some herbs sink to the bottom. So this one is floating and it looks really good. Kind of a knuckle or two of liquid there. And you let it sit for 4 weeks, 2 months, as long as you like. And always label your jar. We always write the name and the date that we started it and just stick it on with some tape. That way we know what it is and how long it's been sitting. Trying to remember. You think that you might, but believe me. Okay, so after your extract sits, after you shake it every single day for 2 months, and it sits and makes a beautiful, potent herbal extract, you're gonna need to strain it. So here at STL Herbs and Aromatics, we strain our extracts through a hydraulic press that is stainless steel, and it has a lot of power behind it to process larger amounts. But for at home, what I would do is either use cheesecloth. I like to put the cheesecloth over a little strainer that's balanced in a measuring cup. And then, you kind of make a little bed for it there. And then you would open your jar and pour it in. And then basically you gather everything up and you squeeze it by hand. So you might want to wear gloves, clean gloves, rubber gloves, disposable gloves, or not. It's up to you. Obviously, for your own personal use, you can put your hands in there. But the other option is these really handy straining bags that are made just for us at STL Herbs and Aromatics. And this is what we use in our press, and they're super easy. You can see, open on one side. Super easy and very clean and contained. Same idea. You pour your herb in there with the liquid and gather it up and squeeze it by hand as hard as you can. So once you do that, you'll have your yield. And this is also a fun thing to record in your records, is what you end up with in the end, so that you can, over time, get a sense of how much herb and how much liquid and what you're going to get out of it in the end. So after you get your yield, you're going to want to store your finished extract in something. So a few options are a mason jar. We prefer to use amber bottles that we can just pour out of. And obviously we sell them in an easy to use eyedropper bottle. So you could do a little eyedropper bottle or a larger, depending on how much yield you get. Then you also want to put a label on there so you know what it is. Don't always rely on your memory, unfortunately. So the amber bottles are preferable to a clear glass jar like this, just because it helps filter out the light and it helps keep your herbal extract more potent longer.